Blog Talk Radio.
Hello?
Yo, James.
Yes, sir.
All right. We are back on live, and we have 1 hour and 59 seconds left.
Okay.
So we don't have to take all the time, obviously, but this is part of the bonus that I got for getting the show fixed. So I'm going to clear my throat. It's 11:30 in the p.m. Today is 16 November 2013, and I am Reggie, and that's my co-host James, and this is the Haitian Free Thinkers Blog Talk Radio Show. And tonight is our fourth show, so it's been a month already, if you could believe that. So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty with Blog Talk Radio, but they were kind enough to help me out and threw in some bonus for our show. So what that means is that we're going to have longer time to talk about what we need to talk about, and I can schedule shows during prime time hours. So if needed or everything works out, we could schedule a show between the hours of 7 p.m. and 11 p.m., which is when most people are available to listen to shows, and that's all about. And I get to add some more cool features to the show. So that's what's going on. So as I promote the show and do my thing, I'd like to hear from you, James, as far as how your week was. You was telling me about that earlier, so let's get it going.
Okay. Basically, my week was good. I have this new job. I'm doing an electrician apprenticeship. So that's a good trade for me to learn, and make some good money and basically a good career. So I'm doing that. But, I'm just basically going through, I guess, what a lot of atheists are going through these days. Your boss is religious, holy roly. And this guy, he's that. He's super holy roly. And basically he told me if I wanted to keep this job, I have to be a Christian, or a church God-fearing man. He basically told me.
Okay, so and what did you do when he told you that?
Well, I certainly didn't tell him I was an atheist, and basically I just said, hey, I understand. That's all I said. I said, hey, I can understand that.
Okay, so that's one of the topics that we're going to cover tonight. What else you got in store for us?
Okay, and I know I said last week I wanted to talk about the guy Joseph Atwell, about his research on the Jesus thing and all that, but I kind of want to do more research on it. But I found another topic I want to talk about, and I basically want to call this Diddy, like Puff Daddy, the last man standing. Because everybody that's come through Bad Boy and everything like that, something bad happened to him or something like that, but Diddy has weathered the storm, and just like he said, can't stop, won't stop. He has his own network, Revolt TV, and he's just a man. He's big. And out of everybody from Bad Boy that he's brought along, anything like that, there's just something happened to him and never seemed to get it right, to be successful.
Roger that.
And I'm going to be going through each person or a label person that was actually with Bad Boy and just tell you a little bit or give you an update of what happened to him.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. So we're the Haitian Free Thinkers. Basically, we're one of the few secular groups for Haitians in the world. And if you are interested about finding more about us, you can just get on the internet and Google Haitian Free Thinkers, and you'll find us. We're primarily on Facebook. So that's where you can find us. You can join, ask questions, whatever you need to do. Our show, the Haitian Free Thinkers radio show, is on Blog Talk Radio. We usually come on every Saturday at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. So the guest calling number is 646-652-4442. Once again, that's 646-652-4442. Now we have more time to take in callers, so we will welcome anybody who's up at this time. We know it's a little bit late for some people, but it's all good. My name is Reggie, and my co-host is James, and what we do is we cover topics that are relevant and of interest to us. We try to touch on religion, but we really like to talk about whatever it is that we need to talk about that's relevant in our lives, and we just keep it fun and moving. So James got a new gig with a gentleman who is a Christian, a hardcore Christian, or a holy roller, as he called it. And, this is something that most people may not, I don't know, have to deal with because they probably are believers themselves, but maybe they might belong to a different religion. But since people, automatically assume that you're a Christian, especially if you're black, then the situation like what James is going through, can, be a little bit weird or uncomfortable. So James, let us know, how you ran into the guy and how you plan on proceeding with, what he told you.
Okay. Originally I was working on another home, and the guy, he liked my work, and so he took me by another home that he was working on because he actually fixes and rents them out or flip them or whatever. So he took me by another home. There was an electrician there, and the guy needed help, and he was like, "Hey, if you need help, I have a great guy right here." So I told him to come back the next day. I helped him out. I worked out well. He said, "Okay, I really like your work. You seem like you're a really nice guy." And he said, "Do you go to church?" And I was like, I haven't been in a long time. I grew up in church, but haven't been in a while. So he says, well, let me ask you a question. Have you seen a miracle? I said, no. I said, I've seen the birth of my son, but, that was, great day, but I don't consider that a miracle. So then he says, well, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you my testimony. I said, well, go ahead, So he tells me he had a hole in his bladder and he was urinating blood, and something else happened with his intestines. So he had to wear a colostomy bag, and he said a lot of people who wear a colostomy bag, they don't ever really come back from not using it. They don't, once they use it once, they always have to use it. So then he says, I was all kind of messed up for a year, blah, 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 and then I made it. So he says, so you're looking at a miracle, so you say you never saw a miracle, now you're looking at a miracle. Then at the end of it, he was like, I'm not going to try to beat you down with the church thing, but if something on my heart, I'm going to tell you. So then he proceeded to tell me, the Bible says you're not supposed to be with nobody who's unequally yoked. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. I know the story. It says women, you should not be with a man who's unequally yoked, basically somebody who's in the church or in the same denomination as you. And he's like, yeah, okay, so you know the word. And he said, but that also goes for business too. I don't want to be, in business or with somebody who's a non-believer. And I say, man, I can understand that. That's all I kept telling him. Well, I can understand that. And he says, well, again, like I said, I'm not going to beat you with the church thing, but it's something from my heart, and I think you're a good dude, and I want to work with you. So I worked with him again today, and everything went great. He seen how fast I worked, and he see I pick it up really fast. He didn't hit me with the church thing today, but I know it's going to come up again, though.
Okay. Is this legal? I'm glad that he was honest with you, but do you think I don't know. I don't know if it's legal.
No, see, it's the way an apprenticeship works. You're basically working with him. You're learning everything hands-on instead of going to electrician school or going to a trade school to learn electrician work. I'm learning on-the-job training, and it means I'm basically taking a shortcut. And once I learn everything with him, I can go straight into taking the test and getting my license and getting higher licenses and doing residential. Then for residential, I can do commercial. Then for commercial, I can do industrial, like big manufacturing plants and making a lot of big money and actually traveling. That's what he says he wants me to do. He says, I want to teach you everything, and I he said his son doesn't want to learn it, so he says I have to pass it along to somebody. And he says you pick it up pretty fast. I said you want to learn it, and I want to put you on the road with me. So basically, I'll be traveling if we go to some industrial plants and stuff. So he said he wanted to teach me. So, and it's like I don't want to mess this opportunity up, because I want to learn electrician work, because I could do this work anywhere in Earth. Electrician is one of the main jobs needed.
Okay. Okay, so we think it's gonna come up again. So what's your game plan for how you're gonna handle it?
Well, like I to this point, I was talking to a best friend of mine, and and she knows I'm atheist and all that. She said, "Well, I guess you're gonna be saying a lot of amen."
Yeah. So
but I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna just bold-faced lie to the guy and be like, hey, I went to church and all this stuff like that. But if he doesn't bring it up, I'm not going to say anything. And if he says something, I'll just like, hey, I understand. And if I know the story, I explain that. But I won't be like, bold-faced, praise the Lord and all this stuff like that, because I'm one of those people, I don't know how to fake with people. If I don't like you, you're going to know I don't like you. And if I like you, you're going to know I like you.
That's I think a good trait to have. That's when you told me about that, I was thinking about my situation. I met a guy like about 2 weeks ago while I was driving down the road to go get my license done, my license plate. And basically he runs a little office that helps Haitians with immigration issues as far as translating their documents, etc. To make a long story short, he's also religious, and he invited me to go to church, was it 2 weeks ago, and he was really nice about it, and but I didn't feel like it was appropriate, at the time to say that, hey, I'm not only an atheist, but I actually run a group that promotes secular values. You kind I felt him out, and I felt that would create an uncomfortable environment and prejudice against me. And I thought it was too early in the relationship to kind of go into that. Even though I think that eventually he's going to insist. I mean, he's going to keep bringing it up. And I'll let him know at that time. I'm like, hey, this is why I didn't come. It's because of this, whatever. But by that time, he would have gotten to know me a little bit better, and you see that I was a regular person. I'm not just trying to play with him or whatever. So that's my perspective. But unfortunately, those kind of things probably will happen more often as I meet new people out here. So I definitely understand what you're going through.
Now, remember when I originally told you, you were asking me, is there anything like worse that I probably could have been? And like I told you, a gay person, homosexual, whatever person would be in a much better position than I would be.
Right.
Because the especially where I live at in the South, it's just expected that you're black, you go to church. Even if you're white, you go to church. Like, there was a discussion today. The guy said, oh, we're going to come out here. We didn't finish today, so we're going to come out here tomorrow. He said, oh, no, I'll be in church. The other guy, the white guy, he was like, oh, well, I'll be out here. He was like, oh, no, I'll be in church. And everybody started laughing. Yeah, we'll all be in church.
Yeah.
And
now,
so I just hope that, I work with him. He sees that I'm a good guy and stuff like that. So if I do eventually tell him, he'll be like, well, you know what? You've been a good guy. You've never done anything wrong to me. So, something like that. Just win them over through my character, I guess.
Exactly. Do you think he is like an honest believer, or is it one of those things that like he's playing like a role so that he can get business because he knows most people are religious?
Oh no, he's official. He's the official tissue. Yeah, he is like on the way he picked me up this morning, he was listening to a sermon that was on a radio show, and And it wasn't like he was like preaching or anything like that, but he was just listening to it. It was just in the background. You know, yeah, I guess he said after that incident, that said what changed his life. He said he used to live in Hollywood, and he was in a couple movies and stuff like that. So he lived a wild life and everything like that. And he said once that happened to him, that I guess that changed his life because he almost died.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, this is the Haitian Free Thinkers Show. My name is Reggie, and James is my co-host. And tonight we're doing our fourth show. I named it News and Views. We're just catching up on our week, talking about different things that's going on in our lives. Haitian Free Thinkers is one of the few groups that promotes secular values in the Haitian community. You can find us online by just Googling Haitian Free Thinkers. We primarily work out of Facebook. We have a Facebook group that has about 118 members in there, so I'm grateful for that. There's also a blog called Haitian Atheist. You can check that out. Once again, all you have to do is Google Haitian Atheist, and you'll find it. And it has some interesting stories and articles in there. The guest call-in number for this show is 646-652-4442. Once again, that's 646-652-4442. We usually come on every Saturday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So give us a call if you wish to say hello, if you want to ask questions or make a comment. We'll welcome that. So also, we spoke earlier, and you had some information on G-Dep that was pretty interesting, but you had a big thing overall with Puff Daddy, so let's touch up on that a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking, since I looked up G-Dep, and then it just something hit me. I was like, you know what? Everybody who's been with Bad Boy has something bad happen to them, or they didn't really, I guess, succeed in life. And a lot of them just overall, mainly, I would say almost 90% of them just went religious, just went off crazy. Let's start off with Mace. Of course, everybody knows about Mace. He became a preacher, then he became a rapper, then a preacher again, then a rapper again. Nobody knows right now what he wants to do in his life, Biggie, everybody knows his story. He died tragically. He was my favorite rapper. Shine did 10 years on a gun charge, shooting somebody in the face in the club. Got out. He became Jewish,
Right.
Craig Mack, he basically disappeared, fell off the face of the earth. G-Dep, same thing with him. I mean, not G-Dep, but Black Rob, the one who came out with the song Whoa.
Right.
Back in the days. Remember Making the Band?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody from Making the Band, they've all just kind of disappeared. There's only actually been two that's actually done anything after Making the Band. Ness, he was actually called E-Ness, but he was a battle rapper before Making the Band, and that's basically what he did. He got back into battle rapping, but that didn't really pan out so well. He was getting beat, because I actually pay attention to the battle rap scene. Babs Bunny, she actually has her own battle rap, league. It's called Queen of the Ring, and that's actually going well. Actually, that's been going on for I think 3 years. They just celebrated the 3-year anniversary.
Okay.
So that one's been going really good. And we want to talk about Loom. Jamar Junaid, he actually in North Carolina got caught on drugs trafficking conspiracy charges, and caught 14 years for that. But before then, he had fled to Belgium, but got extradited back to the United States to go to trial. He claims it was a setup, and then he became an Orthodox Muslim. and right now he's trying to, I guess, try to get those appeals, but it seems like they haven't opened a shut case on him, basically, because the people testified against him, like the people they say were conspiring with him, and they also have audio tapes and all this other stuff. So, Farnsworth Bentley, remember the guy who used to hold the umbrellas for him?
Right.
Black Mother. Yeah. Well, he actually did a rap album or music or some kind of music album that was okay for a little while, but then he came out with a bow tie line, and then after that he kind of just disappeared. You don't really hear anything from him at all. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about no, actually not last but not least, but we're going to talk about actually the girls from Total. Remember that girl group Total?
Oh, yeah, I remember Total.
Yeah, Kissing You and all that. Yeah, those girls are nice, man.
Yeah.
One of the women, one with the short hair, was the more feminine one, I guess. She was more light-skinned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite one. But her name was actually Keisha Spivey, and she actually married Omar Epps. And they've been married. They've been married and have 3 kids together.
Okay.
And they're still together. Yeah, they're still together to this day. Pamela Long, that was the girl with the long hair.
Okay.
All right.
I'm looking them up right now, actually.
Yeah, she became a Christian singer, and she came out with an album or a song or something. But and that's all I think that I read about her. And the other one, Kima, Raynor. She's actually been relatively quiet, but she actually is on Twitter, and she posts a lot of stuff on Twitter and stuff like that.
So Kima is the taller, darker one. She looked like almost like how should I put it nicely, lesbianish.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my shorty right there, son. I had that Total album, and all I have to say, there's a bathroom scene as in one of the interludes. That's all I gotta say.
Oh man.
You know what I'm talking about too, right?
I know what you're talking about. You got me cracking up over here. But I don't know, the one with the short hair, Omar Epps, you're a lucky man.
That's all I gotta say. That's what's up, man.
Hey man, Nia Long, you gotta look her up, man. She's still fine, still sexy.
Oh yeah.
All right.
God.
All right, let's turn this back into I guess a female friendly show.
Right.
All right, well last but not least, but we're gonna talk about G-Dep.
Right.
Now G-Dep, his name actually stood for Ghetto Dependent.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ghetto Dependent.
Oh man.
Yeah, and he dropped out of college at the age of 18, and he was selling drugs and everything. And for $500, he bought a gun. Okay, and then in 1993, a month before his 19th birthday, he robbed a guy. Okay, he basically was riding on a bike and he saw a guy standing around, and he rolled up on him and told the guy, "Give me your money." He said the guy didn't say anything, but the guy reached and grabbed the gun. So he pulled back, and as he pulled back, he pulled the trigger and shot the guy. And I think he said he either took money or something, and he just got on his bike and he left. The next day, the cops stopped him and asked him, "Hey man, you know anything that happened up under this bridge, the stairwell or whatever?" And he was like, "Nah, I don't know about that." So they left it alone. So it became a cold case. So, and in his 20s, he got the rap career with Puff Daddy. His rap, he was doing good. But I guess it being on his conscience that he may have killed somebody, he shot somebody, it affected his music, and he got dropped from Bad Boy. And once he got dropped from Bad Boy, he basically, was depressed and everything, and it weighed heavy on his heart. And then he went and when he tried to confess to it once before, and the cops didn't believe him, so he left it alone. And then I think maybe about a month later, he came back. He confessed to it again. He was like, look, man, I shot somebody, I don't know, maybe dead or whatever. So then the cops, they said, okay, they do a deeper research. They found out that, it was a shooting and the guy died. Then he was arrested at that point for murder. And then that's when he turned himself in, that's when he found out that the guy actually died. The whole time he didn't know if the guy lived or died. And he felt like, all through this life, he got a record deal, he got married, he had kids, and he said he felt it was wrong that he had such a beautiful life, and this guy his life is probably tragic. The guy probably had kids himself. It's like he just felt like it was totally unfair.
Right.
And the people that were around him at the time didn't even believe, like, what? You killed somebody? Puff Daddy at the time did a radio interview when he first turned himself in, and they asked Puff Daddy, he was like, man, Puff, G-Dep is one of the most humblest, nicest guys I ever knew, but you can tell that something was on his heart heavy, because it affected his music. He couldn't really focus and concentrate. But at the time, he was on a lot of drugs, medicating himself so he can numb the pain of, that what he had did in the past.
Word, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then he turned himself in, and just right about him.
I'm saying though, so since you do something like that, don't they consider that, like, as far as turning yourself in and give them a lighter sentence? I mean,
they didn't charge him with first-degree murder. They charged him with second-degree murder. But murder doesn't have a statute of limitations.
Can you explain what that means? Because I'm not really clear on that.
When I say statute of limitations, that means depending on your crime, you could only be you can only be charged for it depending on the limit of time that it has passed by. If I'm saying it correctly, if I remember it correctly, don't quote me on that.
Right.
But if you did something like a misdemeanor, it would have to be within a certain amount of time before they caught you, before they can charge you again, charge you for it. But a murder felony, that's forever. They can hold a warrant on that until they find the person who killed it. Even if you die and they found some way to dig your bones up and do a DNA, and your DNA was matched to a murder 100 years ago or something like that, now that murder from however long it's been is now solved because it was a cold case. It was just left open,
Oh, okay. So do you know how much time he's doing right now?
Yeah, let me.
If you don't have that information on time.
No, I have it written down somewhere. I think
But you brought some interesting news while you're looking that information up, like Loon, on the religious tip. I mean, I seen him. He came on the news. He had a beard. So you telling me that Loon might be getting locked up soon? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, he's already locked up.
Oh, he's already locked up?
Yeah, he's already been sentenced and everything.
Oh, word. So
yeah.
So I mean, not to make fun, but not to make fun, but like God didn't look out for the kid. You know what I mean? Like
he didn't.
I mean,
sure did.
I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to make fun, but it's kind of like he changed his life around for. I mean, I seen like an interview and what he explained why he became Muslim. And the long story short is because he didn't find fulfillment in the lifestyle that he was leading as a famous rapper, whatever the case is, and Islam gave him peace. That's a very classic line for people who convert to many different religions or whatever the case is. And my man was going around promoting Islam all over the world, and he was getting a lot of publicity and hits and stuff like that. And I know he was influencing his kids to be Muslim and all that good stuff, and now he's locked up. I mean, I really didn't even know about that.
Mm-hmm.
So is he doing like a long bid, or do you know about that?
Yeah, Loon, like I said, Loon, he caught 14 years for that. for the drug conspiracy.
Say again?
He caught 14 years for that.
Oh, 14 years. So
yeah,
it's been about like a year or two, because he got like what's going on with that?
I think that happened actually. I think that was in 2 years ago. He was sentenced to that. Yeah. Now, G. Depp, he was actually sentenced to 16 years.
Oh.
In late 2010, he was sentenced to 16 years.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking online right now for the Loon thing. It does say 14 years, and geez, it's crazy. All right, so Loon is in jail. G. Depp is in jail. Shine, he got out of jail.
Exactly.
We I think we talked about it last show. Like you said, he became an Orthodox Jew. I mean, it's really crazy to see him. I'm gonna try to post a link when I clean up the show and everything like that. I saw him performing out in Israel, and he has a little, not I don't say nappy, but like African hair, little curly fried thing going on the side of his head. It's really weird to see my man doing his thing. Like, I wasn't really a big fan of Shine, but I mean, I remember his work, and his voice was distinctive, etc. So it's really crazy to see him do that. But he's doing more positive things, and I think I'm all for that. So I wish him the best. But he is not allowed to get back into the U.S. I don't know if I mentioned that to you last time, because he got kicked out of the country probably because he's not a citizen. I think his father is some kind of big shot from the country of Belize. So he said he still got some money from his old rap life, so he's doing decent. And the Jews, especially the white Jews, because I haven't seen them around any black Jews, they're loving his self. So that's that. So let me go ahead and remind everybody once again, this is the Haitian Free Thinkers Show. Hope you're enjoying this great information that my brother James is putting out. He's my partner in crime, co-host. The guest calling number is 646-652-4442. Once again, that's 646-652-4442. You can find us online by just Googling Haitian Free Thinkers. We operate out of mostly Facebook. We also have a blog, Haitian Atheist. Basically, our goal is just to promote secular values, targeting the Haitian people, but we don't discriminate. And this is our Block Talk Radio show, where you can call in and ask us questions, leave comments, etc. We usually do our work on Saturdays, every Saturday from 11:30 p.m. until midnight. But we're going to get some extra time because Block Talk Radio has been really nice to me. So speaking of that, the time is now 12:03 in the a.m. No callers as of yet. So if you got to go, let me know. But we have a great show tonight. You're spreading some really good information, which I didn't know.
I'm here.
So who are we going to cover next? Mace. Mace, I think, has a church down here in Atlanta. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I don't really know too much more about him, actually. All I know is that he became a preacher, then he came back. I remember the song, Welcome Back, Welcome Back. I'm not even gonna lie, I actually liked the song, and I was waiting for Mace to come back, because I growing up, I was actually a big fan of him. I used to like his smooth, even though he used to kind of be slow, but he had a nice little flow about him, and I was hoping for him to come back, and when he came back, it was just like a little teaser, and then it was like he went back to preaching, and I'm like, well, what does he want to do? Be a preacher? When he went rapper? What does he want to do? And then, even other rappers started referencing that and started like using it as punchlines, and battle rappers were using it as punchlines, and I'm like, man, you're becoming a joke, and that was it. You ain't hear no more about him as far as,
Okay. Well, I haven't heard anything from him. I do remember that he came back temporarily, and then for whatever reason, I guess he went back to preaching. I don't know if he's making any big time noise like some of the power brokers of the evangelical Christian world, but wherever he is, I hope that he's happy and he's doing well. Last week, we talked about the outlaw member that became Muslim, and I confirmed that it was Napoleon. And I looked him up on YouTube, which I got him queued up right now.
Okay.
And he talks a little bit about how he became Muslim. But my question to you is, what do you think is the connection between people going to jail and becoming accepting different religions? You have Mike Tyson, same thing. Shine, he didn't become Muslim, he became Jewish or whatever. Like, what's going on with jail and these conversion stories? What's your take on that?
I think what it is like mainly sometimes it could be for any number of reasons. Sometimes it could be for security, not just security as far as like, protection, but just security of being around people that all think alike and being part of the herd. Or, it could be, hey, I think I need to change my life and I feel more comfortable in this certain religion. Or, hey, I never thought about this religion. Now, I feel more comfortable in that religion. Hey, it could be for any number of reasons, Sometimes people just get bored and they just want something to do, and this is a way for them to do their time.
Okay. Most of the converts that I know that that are famous anyway become Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there like a stronger influence, like a stronger push to become Muslim in jail, especially towards like the African side of things, or do you hear like an equal number coming out?
Well, down here in the South where I'm at, there's like maybe like a handful. I've been incarcerated a few times. And there's only been like maybe a handful Muslims I ran in jail. Mostly everybody become jailhouse preachers, Christian, what church they ever grew up in, whatever denomination they grew up in, that's what they became hardcore in.
Okay. Have you ever heard of somebody becoming atheist or anything close to it?
Nah. Like when I'm not gonna lie, when I was incarcerated, which it was some years ago anyway, but when I was in there, I actually openly told people in there that I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe in that. And other people, they were weirded out. They looked at me like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I don't believe in it. And like it didn't cause me any extra problems or anything like that. It was just I just openly told them. But I'm probably the only person they ever heard of saying that, hey, I don't believe in God in jail.
All right. Well, maybe I'm not sure if any atheist groups are going to follow in the lead of the church and the religious people and go and, I don't want to say proselytize, but go help out people in jail because...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, because the way I looked at it is that they're a captive audience. It's almost like you're taking advantage of their situation in my mind. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, like I didn't really know until a few years ago that Florida actually has a very large, like I'm not saying very large, but we have a nice sized atheist group down here. And they were actually doing some activism down in here because if you Google Polk County, you'll see our sheriff here is by the name of Sheriff Grady Judd. Well, he removed the basketball rims in the jail and donated them to Christian churches.
Oh, wow.
And, so an atheist group actually sued him because they said that those basketball rims could go to, one could go to one church, another could go to a Muslim church, one can go to an atheist place, and It was like actually kind of big news down here. You know, the sheriff, he was quoted as saying, "Come on, atheists, you know, he's ready for a fight," and stuff like that. So yeah, and there was actually I think one lady atheist, I think she was either arrested or like falsely arrested or something, and the atheist group came together and they were like actually trying to get a petition and put together funds to either get the lawsuit dropped or help her with her legal team or something.
Oh, okay. So
yeah. I'll be looking at. Matter of fact, I'm going to do an investigation. I'm going to talk about that more, and I can see if I can. I'll see what I can do about that story. Is
the sheriff, is he within his legal rights to be able to do that kind of thing, or is he just acting like he's the boss?
Oh yeah, that's what Sheriff Grady J. Have you ever heard of? I think some Sheriff Papio or something. I think he's Louisiana, where he made the inmates wear pink and stuff like that. I think it's Texas or Louisiana. Yeah, well, that guy, he's famous for being a hard-nosed sheriff, and like this Grady Judd, he's similar to that. Like he wants to be that guy on TV. You know, he's that hard-nosed. This is my county. We don't take no crap, and this, you know, all that.
Okay.
Yeah, you should. If you Google Grady Judd, they'll probably that's probably have to do is probably type in Grady JU, and then they'll probably say Grady Judd, Polk County.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting right there. That kind of dovetails into something that I want to touch on as far as churches, atheists, and following the script of religious people. But just to clarify, how do you feel about a potential atheist group going to churches? I mean, to jails, to I don't know. I don't even want to call it proselytizing, but helping inmates and saying that they're atheists. How do you feel about that? Do you think that that's slimy, or
I only because I know how it would probably go over here where I live at. That I don't know. They'll probably have a hard time if they go in there and saying, "Look, we want to go offer like free psychiatric help, or like give a psychiatric evaluation, you know, or just help people who need talking to or whatever, counseling." That would work better, like non-donation, you know what I'm saying, like basically secular counseling or something like that, you know, something that doesn't deal with spiritual, we just deal with real life problems. Maybe under the mask of that, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I don't feel that there's anything wrong with that personally myself, you know. I wish there was a group in that like that. But
okay, so basically offering people who are in jail a secular alternative, not hiding that we are secular people or atheists, but not using that as a means to like trying to convert them, basically, right?
Yeah, we don't want to go in and say, "Hey, we're atheists, we want to help." No, I would like for them to say, "Hey, we want to help, but we're also atheists."
Okay, that's excellent. I totally agree with you. I want to remind everybody once again that this is the Haitian Freethinkers radio show on Block Talk Radio. My name is Reggie, and that's my co-host James. The guest calling number is 646-652-4442, 646-652-4442. I don't know if you heard about this, but a couple of people posted on my wall on Facebook that there's atheist mega churches that are popping up all over the place. Have you heard about that?
I think I saw that posted on the wall, and I don't know, that just saying that just leaves a bad taste. I don't like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's you know, when I browse over the article, but it's basically something that was started by two comedians in England, and it kind of took off from there. Basically, it's atheists getting together to do like whatever that they do. It's like it's like I guess they call it a church because it's a church-like atmosphere because they're having fun, singing songs. I think it's not a good idea to call it a church. We have meetup groups, we socialize, you know, and I think that's a good thing. But to call it a church, number one, and a mega church, number two, is I think a bad move. But supposedly they're picking up steam. So somebody on Facebook asked me like basically why we jocking their style, and
exactly.
And I was like, I can understand why they feel that way. I don't promote it, but you know, I'm a person who's like, you know, live and let live. You know what I'm saying? Like, do your thing, and you know, like if you do something, like you know, what I like about being an atheist or free thinker is that like, what we have in common is that we're atheists, but that doesn't mean that you're free to like, you know, like or dislike different things. So I don't have to defend your action. You don't have to defend my action. People will are free to do whatever it is that they like to do, as long as they're being safe, lawful. I don't really see a problem with that. But if there was a atheist mega church in my area, I probably would just visit just to see what the big deal is about. But most likely, I probably wouldn't become a member. So.
Exactly.
So that's how I feel about that. Did you know there's a movie coming out called Noah?
Yes, I actually watched the trailer before you called me and asked me about it.
Oh, okay, great. What did you think about that?
I'm not gonna lie, visually it looks like it's gonna be great, but I didn't know that Noah had a battle scene. I didn't know there was a battle scene in Noah's Ark. Maybe I need to read it more.
You mean with the guy coming out the forest? Like I think he was asking for entrance into the boat. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, something like I think it's Anthony. No, that's not Anthony Hopkins. It's somebody from one of the movies. He had a patch over his eye or something, and it's a bunch of guys out in the woods, and I don't know. He's trying to say something. They're trying to fight, and I don't know. I think they're trying to get on the boat. And he's saying something to him, and next thing you know, the rain starts coming, and all the animals, and I don't know, it was just crazy. Like the visual effects on it is great, but it's just I didn't know Noah had a battle scene.
Okay.
Or fight scene.
Well, I saw the trailer myself, and I agree with you. It does look very well made. The director is Aronofsky. I know I'm misspelling. I'm not saying his name correctly, but he did some really good movies in the past. But that link has drawn a lot of responses, and one of my friends, Max, he's a Seventh-day Adventist. We had a little bit of a discussion about that, but basically his perspective is that like. The movie is going to take some artistic license as far as what they got to do, and I told him that I agree because you know the story in the Bible is only what it covers from I think it's Genesis chapter 3 through 6, and you want to cover like 2 hours of action, so you got to you know add you know dialogue and you know and it looks like they have new characters which may not be even the book, so. As far as I'm concerned, I probably would not pay money to go see it, but when it comes out for free, you know, I'll probably check it out. But one of the things that I noticed about it is that I didn't see any black people in the preview. Did you?
No, not at all, not one.
Yeah, and I just think that's kind of crazy, only because supposedly all humans came from Africa, so.
Exactly.
If Noah was real, which I seriously doubt that he was, and of course the flood story is a myth, so I want to put it out there on the record. It's a myth story for so many reasons. You would think there would be some black people, and I think there's going to be some really darker shade people, but I didn't see anybody in the trailer at least. And I don't know about you, but I was kind of surprised that they picked Russell Crowe to play Noah. I don't think Russell Crowe is old enough.
No, I think that since the movie is it's a biblical movie. They're trying to make the character a little. They gotta make the person a little sexy. They can't make him too old. They to get the hero of the movie has to have a little sex appeal or something. He can't be too old, gray haired and everything. He's got to look like he's wise but still hot. I guess.
I feel you. And speaking of hot, his wife is I forgot her name. But she was Natalie Portman, I think is her name.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! If you've seen her in Requiem for a Dream, it's naughty. That's all I got to say. Requiem for a Dream with Marlon Wayans. Have you seen that one?
No, I never even heard of that movie.
Oh yeah,
you have to send me a link to that or something.
I will. Just remind me. It's pretty serious because it's about drugs and how basically it could mess up your life. So it's like a powerful message, which is kind of scary. It's not happy ending, but it's still worth seeing. So I'm gonna make sure I remind you to check that out. But his wife is extremely beautiful, and I totally understand the sex appeal aspect of it as far as casting these people, because those people were supposed to be like a zillion years old according to the Bible.
Exactly.
When they were doing their thing, but I guess they eat some good natural holistic food or something.
Yeah,
and they stay good looking. So this is the Haitian Freethinkers Show. The time is now 12:21 in the a.m. We have about an hour and 8 minutes left, but we're not going to drag the show out this long. The folks at Blog Talk Radio have been kind enough to give me two months of premium hosting, which means that we are going to have more time to discuss more things. But this show usually comes on every Saturday evening at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. The guest calling number is 646-652-4442. You can find the Haitian Freethinkers online. Just Google Haitian Freethinkers. We'll pop up. We operate out of Facebook, and that's how we do. I want to throw a few admin information out there before we close out the show. We have like a sister group, if you will, in Haiti that's led by a friend of mine named Billy. And Billy told me about 2 weeks ago that unfortunately he's going to have to slow down or stop doing the secular group in Haiti because life is a little bit difficult for him right now. He has a young son that he's taking care of, and life in Haiti can be tough for a lot of people. So he doesn't get the support necessary. I do my best to hook up that brother because he's doing the work in Haiti, which is a key area, obviously, for Haitian Freethinkers, and we're going to try to help him out as much as possible. So we're going to keep him, I guess, in our folds as far as I'm going to try to reach out to him and have him be a guest on the show, and we're going to do a show in Creole. That's what I'm hoping to do real soon. But I just wanted to let everybody know out there that Billy, we have a friend named Billy in Haiti who has a group, and he's always trying to expand and do education and everything that we know is important. So he's taking a stop momentarily, hopefully, because he has to take care of himself. And lastly, I want to bring up a group by the name of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration. I met a nice guy named Terrence Courtney who works for BAJI, which is the acronym BAJI. That's Black Alliance for Just Immigration. And he's now part of Haitian Freethinkers. And basically it's an excellent group that I would invite anybody to Google and look up. And we talk about basically immigration issues and how it relates to Haitian Freethinkers is that, the DR recently came up with that crazy rule where they're going to revoke the citizenship or withhold citizenship from over, I think it's 200,000 Dominicans that are of Haitian descent. So he's working to bring stuff like that to the people that have the ability to do something about it and to raise awareness. So I would encourage anybody and everybody to go ahead and Google Black Alliance for Just Immigration, aka BAJI, and just take a look in their website and see if you like it. But besides that, I pretty much covered all I needed to talk about. I didn't want to drag the show on too long, but talk about some of the things that we should expect next Saturday at 11:30.
Well, I'll be giving more updates if anything happens at the old job place, and then I'll be looking more into, like I said, the existence of Jesus, and then what was that case I said I was looking up?
Is it a GDEP?
No, not GDEP. It was another one. I said I was gonna. I said I was gonna look up. I was gonna have some more answers on it. I'll remember it later.
Okay.
But I'll bring something new to the table again.
Okay. As for me, same thing. Things are always going to happen during the week, and we'll connect and have a nice show. As always, the next show will be planned for 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. If there's any changes, of course, I will update and publish to everybody. Until then, this has been show number 4 of Haitian Free Thinkers. I thank you for your time. My name is Reggie, and James is my partner in crime, and we'll hear from you next time.
All right, peace.
Peace.